been thinking. Yes, I've been thinking.
Today we're going to talk about disability, if you will. I want to share Psalms 139, 13 and 16. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. Wow. I am wonderfully and marvelously made, fearfully and marvelously made, or fearfully and wonderfully made. Has there ever been a time that you couldn't resonate in that because of a disability you might have? That you might be disabled in some regard? Because you do realize that whatever disabledness you have was by design in God's divine purpose. Beyond my understanding, beyond your understanding, okay? But it wasn't done without his knowledge. And yet he still says we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Why is that? Because God can use you so magnificently despite whatever you may feel is a shortcoming. Disabled is not dysfunctional. And often we think that if we don't show up with the perfection of man, then how can God really use us? Having a physical, mental, cognitive, or developmental disability, yes, can it limit some of the things you do? Yes, let's not fool ourselves. Can it limit you from fully engaging in some things? Yes, it can. But what it can't do is limit what God can do with you. God would take and do more with less than you could possibly imagine. Just because you might be disabled in those particular areas has nothing to do with what God can do with your spiritual life and what he can do with you for others. All through the Bible, there were examples of disabled individuals from being crippled to being blind to being deaf. And yet God used these people in some awfully powerful ways. Just recently, we were dealing with John 9, and a boy was born blind just so God could use him in a magnificent way many years later. That was the only reason he was born blind. The only reason for this disablement was that God could get this extreme glory. And this one disabled individual was a part of God impacting hundreds of other individuals whose lives were completely altered because of what God did with one person. So if God can take your disability, if he can take some of the shortcomings that you have cognitively, physically, mentally, whatever it may be, and bless 1,000 people, okay, here's what I want you to do. 1 versus 1,000. 1,000 people were impacted. 1,000 people were changed. 1,000 people saw God in a different way because one was disabled. Does that sound like your disablement was a disadvantage? Not to me. One disabled, 1,000 blessed. God knew what he was doing. Whatever you're going through that may make you feel as if I'm inadequate or I'm just not all I used to be, God knows it. God designed it. It's not that it's a punishment. He simply designed it in his divine plan. Please remember, disabled is not dysfunctional. See yourself as God sees you, and that's important in his divine plan. At least think about it.